Sometimes traits do not have recessive alleles. For example, the traits for hair texture are all dominant. And in this case, both alleles are expressed in the pair, and you can get some really cool combinations of hair texture. We call this type of inheritance incomplete dominance because neither allele fully covers up the other allele, and both are expressed, but they're kind of mixed. You can think of this incomplete dominance as being like a mix between the two alleles. So, for example, let's look at the alleles for hair texture. So, if somebody has a capital H, or an allele for curly hair, they have a capital H, and this gives them curly hair. And then somebody with straight hair will have a capital S, both being dominant, they both get expressed, and then the person has straight hair. However, when somebody has a capital H and a capital S, they end up with wavy hair, which is kind of a mixture, if you think about it, between curly and straight hair. And so both of the alleles are expressed, and you get something called incomplete dominance, where you get something kind of halfway in between curly and straight, in this case, wavy hair. So how does a Punnett square for this type of trait work? Well, let's look. Okay, so I've just chosen two random examples here. I have a mom that has capital H genotype, and this genotype, capital H, would code for curly hair. So the mom would have curly hair, and the dad's genotype, capital S, that would code for wavy hair because both of these alleles would be expressed, both the allele for curly hair and the allele for straight hair. And so dad's phenotype would be wavy. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Wavy hair. Sorry about that. That's embarrassing. Wavy hair. Okay, so we do the Punnett square exactly the same way that we do the other Punnett squares. So I'm going to look at mom's genotypes first. I'm going to use red pencil for this. And I'm going to take mom's genotype, capital H. I'm going to take each allele and put it on the side of the Punnett square. So I take one capital H and put it here on this row in the Punnett square. Take the other capital H and put it here on this row in the Punnett square. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to take dad's genotype, and I'm going to use purple for this genotype, and I'm going to take his allele of capital H and put it up here over this column in the Punnett square, and I'm going to take his capital S allele and put it over here over this column in the Punnett square. And now I'm just going to fill in the Punnett square exactly how I did with the other Punnett squares. So I take this H and I put it in every box below it. So I put an H here, capital H here, and a capital H here. Then I'm going to take this capital S and I'm going to put it in the boxes below. So I'm going to put a capital S here and a capital S here. So then I'm going to switch my pencils and I'm going to take this capital H and I'm going to put it in the boxes to the right, or every box in the row. So I'm going to put a capital H here, and I'm going to put the capital H in front of the S simply because up here I wrote this as HS. You could write this as SH as well, but I'm just going to leave it as HS. I take this H down here, move it into the Punnett square, and take this H and move it into this square, and now I can see the possible genotypes of the offspring. And just like any Punnett square, what I like to do is write the phenotype that results from the genotype. So HH, I'm going to look back up here at my key. Capital H codes for curly hair. So I'm going to write curly hair here. And I spelled it right this time. Capital H, capital S, this codes for wavy hair. Capital H, remember this would code for curly hair. And capital H, capital S, just like here, and we can see it up here, codes for wavy hair. So now I've filled out my Punnett square. Now I can figure out the percentage of their percentage chance that offspring from these parents would have curly hair, straight hair, and wavy hair based on the possible combinations that I see up here in the Punnett square. So remember that there's 4 boxes in the Punnett Square, or 4 possible genotype combinations. So first one is curly hair. Remember, curly hair has the genotype HH, or capital H, capital H. So I look in the boxes and I count 1, 2 of the boxes that have capital H out of the 4. So that percentage chance would be 2 out of 4, or 50% chance that these parents would produce a child with curly hair. Next, let's look at straight hair. Straight hair has a genotype capital S, capital S. So that's what we're looking for inside the Punnett Square. So I see 0 capital S inside the Punnett Square. So out of the 4 possible combinations, that would be 0 out of 4, or 0%. And if we look at wavy hair, remember wavy hair has a genotype of capital H, capital S. And when I look in the Punnett Square, I see 1, 2 genotypes of capital H, capital S. So out of the 4 possible combinations, 2 of them have that gene combination of capital H, capital S. So I would write 2 out of 4, or 50%. So basically, it's the same thing. We're doing the same thing with the Punnett Square, except in this case, all of the alleles are represented with capital letters. And if you have 2 of the same capital letters, like capital H, you get curly hair. If you have 2 capital S's, you get straight hair. And if you get a combination between the 2, capital H, capital S, both of those phenotypes are expressed, and you get a phenotype that is in between curly and straight, which we call wavy. So I hope this helps. As always, if you have any questions, please let me or your teacher know.